Hello everyone. For this week we are just reviewing our unit on India. You will have a test on Friday during our live session from 9 to 11. So this just goes through the questions on the study guide. You can do the questions with the video, or you can do them on your own and then check them by watching the video. I will go over each question. Okay, first question, describe the geographic features of India. How did the geographic features affect the development of Indian civilization? So for this question, you were already assigned to it. If you did not answer it, or if you need to do a better job, you want to look at page 378 as well as 379. So for our answer, we want to make sure that we talk about geography. Remember, is features on a map, by the way, in case you're forgetting. Some of you guys were writing about all kinds of crazy things. Anytime that you hear geography, though, you need to think about maps and what you would see on a map. So our major rivers are the Indus and the Ganges. We have the Ganges Plain, which is the area of fertile farmland. Agriculture depends on the monsoons. If you forgot what a monsoon is, you want to take a look at your vocabulary, highlighted words. And then our mountain ranges, two major ones, the Himalayas and the Hindu Kush. And when we look at that, we know that it separates India from the rest of Asia. And then we talked about some of the positive and negative impacts of that. So for example, when we look at how these things affected India, well, we want to look at how rivers provided fresh water for farming. Again, the Ganges Plain is going to be an area where they will be able to build cities because they can grow food. Your mountains could hinder trade, but it also could provide a natural defense against invaders. All right, next question. Explain why historians describe the cities of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa as being well planned. Explain specific examples of technology used by Indus Valley civilizations. For that question, you want to look at pages 380 and 381. And again, you were already assigned this one. All right, so cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa are considered advanced because they have features like streets in a grid pattern, sewer systems, granaries, citadels that may have been centers of government and religion. They had a system of weights and measures that made trade easier. Keep in mind, we do not know much about religion and government because we can't read their writing. The other page that you're going to want to look at is 381. Which is the picture page. It has a lot of details and information there in the captions to kind of jog your memory. So I would definitely look at that. All right, what is meant by a caste system? How did the caste system affect life in ancient India? So for this one, again, you were already assigned this question. You should already have it answered. It is on page 387. Some things to know about caste is that it is a fixed social class into which a person is born. People inherited their caste from their parents. They stayed in that caste for their entire lives. So remember, your caste is determined by who your parents are. You are the same caste as them. You cannot get out of your caste during your life because it's fixed. So it doesn't matter how good of a person you are, or how much money you have, any of that. You are stuck in that caste for your entire life. So people of different castes did not mix together socially. They did not hang out together. They're not even allowed to eat together. And marriage rarely occurred across caste lines. The caste groupings are on 387. The highest caste is the Brahmins. They were the priests. The lowest caste were the Dalits, the untouchables. And you'll remember from the video, hopefully, quite a bit of information about those caste groups. All right, next question is about Hinduism. Explain the basic beliefs of Hinduism. Again, you were already assigned this, but if you missed it for some reason, it is on 393 and 394. All right, so basic beliefs. In Hinduism, there are many gods, but all of the gods, remember, are forms of Brahman. Brahman is described as a supreme god. but sometimes he's also described as a supreme cosmic consciousness or a spiritual force. A person's goal in Hinduism is to reach moksha. Moksha is a state of joy when a person's soul becomes one with Brahman, so you do not have to go through reincarnation anymore. Hindus stress the goals of following one's duty or dharma and living a moral life as a way to work towards moksha. So remember, for them, we looked at like the 4 goals. For a Hindu person, doing something like taking care of yourself would be considered part of a goal of Hinduism, as well as something like ahimsa, which is not doing harm to any living thing. Their major gods that you looked at were Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma, but keep in mind, all of those gods are simply forms of Brahman. Okay, so that took care of the questions that you were already assigned. The next questions were new for you to do. And again, you may want to answer them and then look at the video, or kind of do a question, pause the video, watch the answer, and kind of, you can figure out your own flow. I am going to tell you where to find the answer though. All right, so we have explained the basic beliefs of Buddhism. For that, you're going to want to look at 400, 401, 402, and 403. So actually, there's a lot of graphic organizers that would help you on those pages for this question. So you may want to take a moment, answer the question, pause the video, and then come back here in a second to see the answer. All right, so I just want to recap here before we answer the basic beliefs that the founder of Buddhism was Siddhartha Gautama. He was, remember, a wealthy Hindu prince who left the palace. Remember, he went and meditated for 49 days, and then he came to understand the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. And he reached an awareness that freed him from the ties to this world. He entered this new life free of suffering. So we say that he achieved enlightenment. And at that point, he became known as Buddha. So for Buddhists today, their beliefs are really the same as ancient India. And keep in mind that like any religion, there are different branches of Buddhism, but these just summarize the basic beliefs. So Buddha is not a god. Buddhists do not believe in any god. Their final goal is to reach nirvana, which is a state of blissful peace when one sees that oneself is an illusion and it ceases to exist. In other words, reincarnation is over. They stress giving up selfish desires, following the moral teachings called the Eightfold Path to achieve nirvana. They accept the ideas of karma, reincarnation, and meditation. And then I would add on there, I thought I had that on the last bullet point, I think I got cut off, are the 4 Noble Truths. So the names of the major teachings are the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. You can see each of those on 401 and 402. You certainly are not going to have to memorize or list all steps of the Eightfold Path or even the 4 Noble Truths. You just need to know the names of the teachings. All right, our next question, who was Chandragupta? So for this one, you can certainly, just like all the other questions, use your assignments to answer these, or you can go into the textbook. Chandragupta is going to be on page 412 and 413. So you may want to pause for a moment, answer it, and then come back to the video. All right, so again, keeping it simple, Chandragupta was a military strategist. He used military strategy to unite much of India for the first time. He created the Maurya Empire. So for him, or for us, for what we're studying, I mean, yeah, we could write a whole lot more here, but we really just want to keep it simple. Chandragupta created the Maurya Empire when he united the kingdoms of India, which hopefully you can now recall what was the name of Chandragupta's empire. Since we just said it, it's the Maurya Empire. All right, Ashoka. So Ashoka is going to be, again, in your assignments, but if you don't have those handy and you want to look at your textbook, I am looking at 416 and 417 for Ashoka. You want to answer that and then come back to the video. All right, so Ashoka was an emperor. He was Chandragupta's grandson, actually. He turned from war to peace after he saw what war did to people. And he promoted the growth of Buddhism and encouraged morality among his subjects. So he came up with these edicts. He built his empire now is kind of based on things like tolerance and accepting others for who they are. At the same time, though, again, he was Buddhist. How did Ashoka change the way the Maurya Empire was ruled? So again, a lot of that is really just on 416 and 417. You may want to pause and come back. So I put a bunch of things here just because I feel like maybe we have some holes, and that way you can kind of fill in all your details. But anyway, Ashoka, like I said a minute ago, was Chandragupta's grandson. He did, oh, sorry about that. He did fight his brothers to become the third Maurya emperor. After a terrible war against the kingdom of Kalinga, Ashoka turned to Buddhism. Again, he saw what war did to people. He did not want that to keep happening. So he replaced rule by force with rule based on dharma, or moral law, bringing in the principles of Buddhism. And then to share his ideas, Ashoka had stone pillars or columns set up across his empire. You can see an example of one on 417. And then on those, he carved messages where he was assuring his subjects that he was focused on their well-being, that he believed in tolerance and peace, and that that is the kind of leader he wanted to be. All right, describe the Gupta Empire. So we're moving on now. Gupta Empire is over on 420 and 421. All right, so the Gupta dynasty or family created the second major Indian empire. They ruled an India that made advances in the arts, science, and math, including our modern system of numerals. They did not rule their empire directly. They allowed local leaders to make decisions. And people living in the Maurya and Gupta empires were subjects with a duty to obey the emperor. At the same time, there were people in the Gupta Empire who had some political rights and obligations, so we call them citizens. We're going to look at their accomplishments in things like literature, painting, architecture, and culture in a moment. A lot of their art was religious in nature, but Buddhism was not the main religion under the Guptas. For the Guptas, they favored Hinduism. So Ashoka and the Maurya Empire is known for Buddhist principles, and the Guptas are known for favoring Hinduism. I do want to explain the cultural achievements under the Gupta Empire, but I have to do that in a second video because it will go too long and it won't let me upload. So part 2, video 2 on your list will pick up where this one leaves off.